Highest price you paid for the sneakers?
I've had sneakers of like 65,000.
How you ended up buying the Nike? I can see a lot of Nikes here.
I was a fan of the designer who designed these Air Jordans. As an MBA student, I would say there is diminishing margin utility as time increases.
People standing in queues for 5 to 6 hours to get a basic pair of sneakers, it tells a lot about
Camping
it.
overnight.
As soon as I bought my first shoe, I started getting into it. So there's a thing called community.
Someone comes to me and says, you don't become a Jordan if you wear Jordans.
So the fact that wearing shoes makes you feel
Just like tracks your story, man. Welcome to the Consumer Show. Here we are getting into a sneaker edition. We have two sneaker people. I can see a lot of sneakers over there, but let's discover whether they are sneaker heads or else not sneaker heads. Hi Harsh and Ayush. Let's start with sneakers. Like, how long have been using the sneakers and what made you switch to them? Can you just let us go through your journey? Harsh, Ayush, you can decide who want to go first.
So I'll go first.
Okay.
So I've been wearing sneakers for around like 3-4 years.
Okay.
Precisely, let's say 3 years.
And what made you switch to sneakers?
So one fine time when I was out of my shoes, so a friend of mine, he suggested that I should go for one of these sneakers that's actually there in the market, which is pretty much assorted to be cool.
Okay.
Cool thing that one should definitely want to have. So I was like, sure, let's try.
What
why
made
not?
you felt like sneakers means cool?
So the fact that how it's positioned, that having a sneaker that means that you are cool, you're wearing a cool thing.
Okay.
And when I say cool, it's just about the quirk, the drip that you want to have it, wear it, whatever it is.
Okay.
So I thought that, okay, why not? Let's give it a try. So a friend of mine, we were in Delhi, we went to Crepe Crew. So it's a shop out there, and we went to the retail shop over there, and we explored a lot of shoes. Obviously the shoes are very expensive.
Okay.
And it was the first time for me. So a friend of mine convinced me that you should definitely get something from here. So I got like the most cheap, the affordable one, so that I could.
What was the price of the first sneakers you bought?
So I got these. It was again a retail shoe.
Okay.
So the actual price of shoe might be around like 13,000, but just because of the scarcity, how retail market actually works, I ended up buying it around like 18,000 rupees.
Okay.
So at that point of time, now if you want to have it, you might not even get it, but if at all you want to get it, you can get it around like 11,000-12,000 rupees.
Okay.
But I bagged it for pretty much.
There's a lot of hype around limited edition and exclusive.
True,
right?
true.
Like, let's go with Harsh. Like, what about you, Harsh? Like, how you ended up buying the Nike? I can see a lot of Nikes here. We don't have any other brand actually. So you can just let us know your story.
I found myself in Atlanta,
Okay.
and then that's the place where hip hop grew and a lot of street culture grew. And this friend of mine who I found cool asked me to get these.
So
sneakers.
you also associate yourself with the cool.
I mean,
What's cool, bro?
I mean, how he carried himself, how he presented himself. I found that
this is the
cool.
drip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I wanted that was an aspiration for me.
Okay.
That I want to be much more like him. And he asked me to get this pair, and I also bought myself this pair. I had to hunt a lot in the US to find myself this one pair, and I like the process of hunting and getting to know about the street culture. At that time, I was a creative, and I wanted to present myself as a creative person too.
So the motivation is to build an aspiration that you are kind of a creative person. That made you switch to the cool stuff, which is Nike
Yes,
sneakers.
I wanted to present myself as a creative person.
Okay.
Get into. I was a fan of the designer who designed these Air
Okay.
Jordans, Tinker
Like,
Hatfield.
why do you think creative means sneakers here?
The story
Okay.
which sneakers have, the artists that I liked or who I found creative were these kind of things.
Okay.
The sports person that I admired, the business people who I found creative, associate themselves with these sneakers.
Okay.
And I wanted to be like them.
Okay.
That's how I got into sneakers.
And somewhere you both are same in the line. Like, he said more of a cool, more than a cool stuff. He wants to associate with the story. You said it's more of you want to like present yourself as a cool thing. So like after getting into the one sneaker, you might have bought multiple. I can see here. Like, what made you buy other thing? Like, is it the same cool stuff or else multiple stories or different stories?
Every sneaker has a story associated with it. For example, when these came out, this was a comeback for Nike.
Okay.
Air Max 96 flopped, and then they had this designer Tinker Hatfield. He designed these,
Okay.
and that's how Nike researched. These are Air Jordans.
Okay.
The colorway also matters when it comes to sneakers.
Okay.
These are the OG colorways.
Okay.
So there were 5 or 6 colorways which were launched as a part of the OG series when Nike launched Jordan 1s. So every colorway has a different story which it tells. This one, it's unique in its approach. The green fades and the black comes within, and it's called Hulk.
Okay.
So every
Among these
sneaker,
three, what's your favorite one?
I'd go with these.
Why?
Because these are much closer to the OG Jordan 1 colorway which they
Okay.
have. That's why.
And what's the price for it?
I bought them at retail, so not much. I think $12,000.
Okay. And the original price is?
That's the original. I got them at drop, which Nike has. So I
Okay.
did not pay resale.
One sneaker to the second sneaker. What was your thought process like?
Right. So as soon as I bought my first shoe, I started getting into it. So there's a thing called community.
Okay.
Where people of same mindset or people who are into sneakers, they have a small community of themselves and they have a lot of conversations around it.
So
like
does that influence your buying decision?
definitely, for me, definitely.
What about you?
It used to, but not as much now.
Okay.
I mean,
Why?
True.
I wanted to be a part of that community earlier on. I wanted to considered as an insider, as an in-member, but it doesn't really do much.
Okay.
That's not the thing that I started with. So the main idea was to present myself as a creative and feel myself as a creative,
Okay.
not be a part of some community. That happened at a later stance. So yeah.
How much price you willing to pay for one sneaker?
I mean, today when I have a lot many shoes, after spending so much, I think that I would want to spend around like 30, 35, 40,000 rupees, not more than that.
What's the highest price you paid for the sneakers?
I've had sneakers of like 60, 65,000.
And do you have?
No, I don't have them right now.
Okay. Tell me one thing. Like you bought it to own the story, to become the cool and
Yeah.
represent your personality. And why do you resell it again?
So, like I mentioned about community, right? That you got to know about a particular shoe. I wore it.
Yeah.
I had that for a good amount of time, and then later I thought that maybe this shoe is not giving me the value that I put in.
Okay.
So I wore it for a good amount of time, and then I let it go. The shoe was in good condition, and thrifting thing is very common in shoes. People would actually want to buy it. They wouldn't say that okay, someone has actually worn it, so I wouldn't get it anyway.
So you don't see the value after a certain point.
As an MBA student, I would say that there is diminishing marginal utility as time increases, and you don't associate and you don't get as much utility or gratification as it did when you bought them.
It's
and
like
then
you forwarding the story to another person.
Yes, now you want another kick.
Okay.
Right.
So yes, it's like a drug.
So that's how you bought all the sneakers?
So after that, yeah, that's how I bought all the sneakers.
Have you also done the reselling part?
No, I haven't.
So let's get in a sneakers part only. It's like, what's the expensive sneaker you had?
Most expensive sneaker. I don't know, maybe 50k, 60k.
And is it somewhere here?
Nah. These are all, what do you call? There's a term for it, right? General release, GR.
Okay.
These are GRs.
Okay. Okay.
So basically, it can go on everything. You actually can put it on suit as well. So the fact that he loves them, the fact that I would want to have them is basically that you can don it anytime, every time, irrespective of what you're wearing. You don't actually need to think a lot about whether if you are matching with your shoes, whether if your dress is making sense with the kind of shoes that you're wearing. So I think that's pretty much comfortable about owning sneakers. Literally, they can go with anything.
How does like in your day-to-day dressing style and when you go out, how does sneakers play an important role in it?
Okay, so now that it's rainy season, I avoid wearing sneakers.
Okay.
But the fact that if you're a person who's very socially outgoing, and let's say you are meeting new people and you are a part of a community, and let's say you are going somewhere, I think wearing my sneakers give me that confidence that okay, there's a contentment within me, and the kind of portrayal that I want to give out of myself, I think wearing sneakers give me that confidence, because people look at other
So
shoes.
you started with the cool stuff and then you like owning the story and then you're going out and it gives you confidence.
Yeah,
So a lot of emotions attached to it.
Definitely, I think emotions are attached where people know about what you're wearing and they would want to know that okay, what's the story behind it, and definitely they'd appreciate for what you're wearing. So I think those kind of emotions are always attached to it, and I think that's how I feel about it.
You?
I like fashion,
Okay.
and these complement my outfit,
Okay.
and fashion makes me feel like myself more. even more. So I feel better in my skin. I feel like myself. I feel confident. So that's the purpose that sneakers
So
and
somewhere
fashion
you
serve.
you are in the same tone actually. And does like when you're buying, does color of a sneakers like affect you more than the story?
Nah, story overpowers.
Story
for me.
overpowers the colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, I think the color is also a very essential part because I know the story, but if the other person has to like a sneaker, then that has to look cool as well.
Okay.
So that color thing plays a very crucial part over here because it has to look good in the end of the day.
Okay.
Nobody would know about what's the story behind that particular sneaker apart from me because I'll be able to speak about that when I get to speak about it.
Okay.
But let's say a person far-fetched who looks at your sneaker, they'll get to see that how good looking they are, and obviously color would play a very important role in the aesthetics and the kind of shoes that you own.
For me, I differ in this. I would rather go with the story and how it makes me feel rather than the other person feel, because I'm doing it for myself.
Okay.
So there is much more utility for me
Okay.
when I know the story and I relate to it.
And what about customized sneakers? Like, have you tried customizing your sneakers?
So one fine time I just tried customizing the color of the stripe of Nike.
Why you want to do that?
So I saw a particular person wearing that particular shoe with a. So Travis Scott has a really brown tint for everything: his cars, his homes, his all gadgets, all his shoes. So that has a very dark browny tint for everything that he owns. So I thought that I would want to customize that. So Nike website, that's a very cool thing where you can go customize the lace, the strips, all these areas. So you can
Okay.
actually end up changing those colors, but it has to look good.
Okay.
So I did customize one of my Air Forces for.
And does it make you feel more validation?
Yeah, I mean it's all about the story, like he mentioned as well, that I am wearing it for myself and I want to feel a certain way. I want to feel more confident, and I also want to associate with a particular, like, where am I actually getting from, right? So it makes me feel good. It makes me feel that I'm more in my skin that way.
You?
Yes, I mean, definitely customizing sneakers makes them your own sneakers.
So you're like carry forwarding the story to yourself.
yeah,
Like you already have a story for the sneakers, then you're making it more
much
customizing.
more personalized for you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. A sneaker. Next sneaker.
A lot of questionable time, more than I do for my flexi courses. I mean, a lot of research goes into it. There are a lot of articles that I read. You have to identify which story makes sense to you,
So
and if it's
you're
worth the
not searching for the
investment.
shoes here. You're searching for the most relatable story for you.
Yeah.
You?
So I think I have finalized the shoe that I want to. Now I am also comparing that whether what's the best value that I'll get for this shoe in several other platforms.
So how do you
I should-
finalize it?
So I know that let's say there's a trendy shoe out there. I know that okay, this is a shoe that I want to bag it, and there are other options as well. Now I narrow it down that like okay, these are the three options that I have, and based on that, like the affordability that obviously that the most closest, the most affordable sneaker in that particular range, I'll go for it.
So are you are a price sensitive person?
At this point of time, I've become very price sensitive.
Why you're not before then?
Because I was very much into the game. I didn't realize. I thought that having expensive sneakers is a thing, because how it's associated that the sneakers, it has to be expensive. That's how it'll be known. That's how the scarcity is being created. But now I think that you have to make a lot of comparison. There's a community out there. You have to read a lot of articles. The same sneaker might be different in Dubai. The same sneaker might be different in US, right?
So do you think expensive sneakers are better than the affordable ones?
No, I don't think so, because there is a same pair which has the same design, but it's a Dior collaboration with Jordan 1s.
Okay.
It's just the color is different.
and the price will shoot up.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it costs you 20-25 lakh rupees or even more.
Okay.
So there is no difference between an expensive one and a cheaper one in terms of design, in terms of utility.
And what about other brands or the story sneakers in Nike?
So basically, the comfort will end at a price range.
okay.
You can't say that the shoe which is like 5 lakh rupees, which will very very comfortable, and the shoe which is of like 50,000, 1 lakh rupees won't be very comfortable.
And one thing, tell me, like like you said about like comfortable, and you don't you find the same comfort in Adidas or Puma or any other international brands or any national brands?
Honestly speaking, these are not very comfortable.
Okay.
Adidas are much more comfortable. Adi Boost,
Fair.
and their foam is much more comfortable.
So
It's just the story
you're
that
picking
makes me
it for
relate
the
it.
story, not for the comfortable.
Nah.
No, I think these are like
Fairly
YB
comfortable?
Pop, and these are skating shoes.
Okay.
And the fact that you have to really feel like when you are skating and something, so that these shoes are very comfortable. So that's the particular thing that I wanted to have them. Why I had them? Because I spoke to a lot of other people who had them, and I like, are they comfortable or not? Because they look good to me, but looking good is just not important. Because like he mentioned, that they're not very comfortable. To be very honest, there are other brands out there. There's
And
Yeezy,
what's
there's
the
New
other
Balance.
most comfortable brand you wore and you would like to buy next?
Yeezys were very comfortable, but beauty is painful.
You?
I think New Balance.
New Balance.
New Balance is pretty
agree,
comfortable. They're new into the
What
market.
made you feel that it's comfortable shoes? Like, have you wore it or else you have
Yeah,
seen
I've worn it. I've had one, and the fact that I saw a couple of influencers wearing it, so I didn't know that was NB, right?
Okay.
And I thought that maybe it's some niche sneaker, but as soon as I researched about it, I studied about it, I realized that okay, I should definitely try one. And as soon as I tried it, I find it pretty comfortable than these ones.
Tell me one thing, how do you determine the price at like? They might give you a certain price and then reseller might give you a certain price. There might be some price you're willing to pay.
Your willingness to pay, how scarce are they, how popular are the pair, what is the demand. So that determines your willingness to pay.
And the design and aesthetics of the shoe underplay in this part?
Nah, I mean, the design and the story is what creates the demand for them in the market. And that's what makes them scarce, and that's how your willingness to pay goes up.
Okay.
So the story, the design, the aesthetic, the collaboration, all of that matters.
Okay.
So I think largely it's all about supply demand. So irrespective of how ugly looking those shoes are, but if the demand for them is very high and the supply is low, definitely that will create a lot of willingness within people that I am willing to pay a certain amount for this particular shoe, even though 1 year later that shoe might be the ugliest shoe that you would ever own. But the fact that it's so scarce, it's so rare that nobody in a room of 100 people will have that particular sneaker will make you determine whether if you are willing to pay a certain amount, let's say 20,000, 30,000 for that particular shoe. And also there's a community right there. Okay, if there's a shoe that I would want to buy tomorrow, I'll ask him that, do you think that these shoes are worth 30,000 rupees? And he'll say that bullshit bro, don't buy it. Then at this point of time, having like 7-8 pairs of shoe, I wouldn't buy them.
And how in a year, how many shoes you end up buying?
Also, going back to the question, the sneaker market is a stock market of goods.
Okay.
So you also determine if I'll be able to resell it at a later time for much more cost, much more price. So that also plays in your buying decision.
Okay.
So you can make money out of it as well. So
It's like you're owning a stock.
Yeah.
That's how you say.
and you yourself buying those sneakers can also make money. Let's say you bought a particular sneaker which is of 30,000 rupees, you ended up buying for 50,000 rupees. At a point of time when that particular shoe is out of stock, or they don't even manufacture at that point of time, but the demand is still there, so you can sell it for like 70,000 rupees. So that basically that you generated value, utility out of it. You made 20,000 on top of that as well, wearing that shoe for entire like 2 year, 1 year, whatever time span that you have owned that shoe.
Oh.
So I think it's from the investment point of view. But
So all these things comes into your mind while you're buying a new pair of sneakers.
Yeah. Now the market has stabilized. It has come to an equilibrium. Earlier, that used to play a lot while buying sneakers.
And how many shoes you buy in a year?
now that I'm not earning, now that it's getting really hard on my pocket, so I think that one or two shoe would be fine. But I also let go of the old shoes as well.
Okay,
so
you resell it.
I resell it. I let go of them. I get new shoes. And coming back to the question that why do you want to whether you look at a resale purpose or not, I think that when you buy that shoe, you shouldn't be immediately thinking that I want to resell it and what's the value that I'll get out of it, right? So I feel that I want to have them. These are cool. I'll wear them for a good amount of time. I can make good connections if at all that makes sense. But
Connections in community connections.
Connections and community connections that I can say that hey, I back these. So we can talk around it. There's a lot of fuss around it, and it's actually a thing. It might sound very stupid and lame, but it's actually a thing. Whether if you are buying something that I appreciate that what you are actually having, and the fact that nobody else has it, so that creates a fuss within the community.
I'll tell you a cool story. There is this guy Vedant who runs Main Street Marketplace.
Right.
He himself doesn't wear any cool sneakers. He wears a
white plain.
Yes, he wears a very basic white colored Adidas.
Just like mine, you're saying.
Nah, even basic than that.
Okay.
Most of the time he wears like flip flops, Burke.
Yeah.
Very basic.
When he even got featured on Forbes, he was wearing apna toota hua juta.
Okay.
So
Why
I mean,
do
I
you-
don't think it makes you accepted in the community.
So
he's running the community.
Fair.
and
I mean,
is it an
obviously.
age factor? One thing I can see,
Nah,
like,
he's
no,
only
age in the
a-
sense like you become excited, you want to own a story, you want to become cool and creative at the age of like coming when you have your pocket money, you have a good amount of money from 18, 19 till you become 20s, you tend to buy a lot of sneakers.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Okay. Break it down.
I mean, when you have your security, when you want to feel socially accepted in the community, in your friend, in your group, and then you move upwards, then it's self-fulfillment.
Okay.
You don't want to get accepted or seek validation. You're fine with who you are. But going through that cycle of seeking validation, being accepted, I think that's a story that all of us share.
And
So-
let's get with like, what's a dream sneaker you wanna own?
I'm eyeing on like Air Force Retro, Travis
Okay.
Scott Retro 1.
Okay.
So I think not the dream
How much does
sneakers.
it cost?
It can cost somewhere around like 5 to 6 lakh rupees at this point of time.
Okay.
So there's this designer, Sean Witherspoon.
Yeah.
He designed Air Max 90s in the same pair that I'm wearing, but he designed. Nike was running a contest, and this guy is a designer. He came up with a really cool design. So I relate with that story. I also love New York City, and he is a New York-based designer. So I would want a pair of Air Max 97s.
Okay. And also tell me, what's the unusual sneaker story you heard and you felt like this is something crazy?
Isn't sneaker market unusual itself? I
Okay.
mean, people camping out in front of stores to get their hands on a pair of sneakers. That's unusual in itself.
Okay.
Adults being so passionate about something so basic like sneakers, that's unusual in itself. But there have been stabbings, robbings, and whatnot.
People standing in queues for like
It's more
5
of
to
in
6
US
hours to
culture,
get
right? Like,
sneakers.
it's more of been in US
Right.
culture.
People
not-
standing in queues for 5 to 6 hours to get a basic pair of sneakers, it tells a lot about
Camping
it.
overnight.
So all these things comes under unusual. Like,
Yeah, these are pretty unusual. People usually stab each other. People coming in expensive ass cars and they're standing in queue like in the sun for like 5 to 6 hours just to get a basic pair of sneakers. I think that's pretty unusual.
There have been mobs. There have been so much. Because
And
of
one
sneakers.
thing like I want to see, like, how do you differentiate with the original ones and the fake ones in the market? Because I can see a lot of fake ones.
Right.
There's a lot of a big market in the fake sneakers
Right,
too.
right.
There
So
are a
how
lot
do you
of
differentiate?
apps where you can click pictures and send them, and then they verify if
They
they are
verify
not originals. So also buying from a trusted reseller, knowing the person.
Have you bought any like sneakers and then figured it out it's a fake one?
No, not happened with
Not
me.
for me.
Okay. Any of your friends?
Vedant got scammed. The guy who runs
Main
Main
Street?
Street. Yeah.
Oh.
So that happens a lot. Also depends because he buys so much volume. It's bound to happen sometime or the other. So yeah, I know people who have been scammed.
Okay.
So there are tags that you have to verify through the different websites. You have to see that
And
particular
you
shoe.
see all these things while buying a
Yeah,
sneaker.
I to see.
Hi, here we have Anurag. Like, he's a non-consumer of sneakers.
Okay.
He one thing interestingly is I heard like about him is like he has willingness to buy sneakers, but he doesn't associate much with the story, and he's unaware about things which you know. So like this segment is called like consumer and non-consumer. So Anurag is non-consumer.
Okay.
He doesn't own any pair of sneakers, but he's willing to. So as a sneaker, like you call yourself sneakerhead or like one who bought like lot of sneakers. So how do you pitch him? How do you sell him your sneakers? You can pick your one sneaker and you can tell pitch him whether his willingness to buy increases or is whether he buy or not.
Right. So I think I would want to pitch this one.
Why?
Okay.
Why I think he definitely is a sports person. Do you?
I do. I
watch a
do
lot of
play
sports?
basketball.
You play basketball.
I
Then
do.
I think my life has been easier
Okay.
than now. The fact that these are Jordans, the legendary MJ,
Right,
Michael Jordan.
right.
The fact that this shoe was launched as a testimony to show that how he has been an incredible contributor in the industry of basketball, especially.
Okay.
And especially the name of the shoe is 312 Chicago, and it comes from the place where he actually is from, and the fact that 312, it's actually from a pin code where he used to stay.
Okay.
So that's the story around it, and the fact that it's a mix of 3 shoes like MJ1, MJ2, and Nike Air Force Alpha.
Okay.
So I think you have to buy it. How will you feel a certain way that if you have these shoes, feeling that your favorite sports player also wear these shoes, and
I'll tell you something. So, Uday, I mean, I think even you would empathize. To me, when you talk about a shoe, it should fall into some sort of a consumer category, okay?
Okay.
There are 2 things, aesthetics and functionality.
Okay.
And I guess for me, functionality is the first thing that I really need,
Okay.
right? And then, I mean, I've had a lot of thoughts of getting sneakers before, but then I really didn't feel it sits into some sort of a functionality bucket, right? So, I've had a pair of sneakers before, way before. They were Jordans again.
Okay.
But then I also see the problem here. See, when you wear something, I think a shoe should at least last for a bit longer, right? And when I wear these shoes, you tend to do a lot of things, right, while you wear it. You cannot be like very subtly walking and all of that. Right. So and when I wore that, and when I kneel down or when I do something, I have this crease, which again gets me a bit annoying. Right.
Okay.
I mean, fair point. You have to be a bit careful because the fact that sneakers, you can't actually kneel down.
So he's addressing as a shoes, you're addressing as a sneakers. There's a lot of difference in it.
Right.
How do you convert him to a non-consumer to a consumer of a sneakers?
I mean, obviously, crease shouldn't be the only thing that you wouldn't want to have that sneaker. Also, when you're saying utility, I think that it will give you a lot of utility when you say that you want to have a particular shoe and it should give a utility. First of all, what do you mean when you're saying utility, that a shoe should give me utility? What is that the utility you're getting from these ones and you wouldn't get from these?
See, utility, it goes well with the look, man. I have a black, I have a brown, I think it can go on anything.
Obviously, fair enough.
I've not seen, in fact, even you, I've not seen a person who only owns one pair of sneakers, right? So for example, it's some sort of a jeans. You have to change the color.
I mean,
a different shade of jeans.
There's always a start to it. I mean, you wouldn't be having the only pair of shoes, right? There should be other shoes as well. So right, I mean, there's always a start.
Exactly.
You have to get one. Then there's a second. Then there's a third. And it's not necessary. You can have one as well. I mean, you can, if one good shoe can do the thing, then I think why not? Fair enough. And
Absolutely.
when you say like, what's the like amount that you're willing to pay for a shoe?
See, on an average, I pay usually around 15,000.
So that's a fair thing. I mean, that's a fair amount. That's a very huge chunk that is
willingness to pay.
Right.
Yes.
Now you have to sell like.
I think the only thing for him is that he's speaking about utility, that he is not getting enough utility out of it, and he's talking about crease. Crease, fair enough. You can't actually, they're not meant for running. You can't be running around places and thinking that the shoe will remain intact. You can't even run on these, bro. At least they would be comfortable for you, and they'll give you that catchy look.
Right.
You want to wear good stuff. You want to feel that, okay, this is giving me that sense of confidence. And how will you feel that a particular artist who wear a shoes of whom you're a big fan, and that's very rare, that only certain people have it, and your favorite sports person has it, and you also have it.
So he's trying to sell the story, but you are looking at it as a utility.
Yes.
So do you think he's trying to like he's selling a valid point?
See, to me, I think at the end of it, a shoe has to be like that for at least a year, if not more.
Obviously,
right?
it'll stay more than a year. Right? These shoes are very
I'll tell you what. See, I go out on a sunny day, it rains suddenly. I don't have another pair of shoes. I have to get them dirty. And usually, what I've seen is, the base of the sole is always white.
Okay.
And it ends up being brown or something.
I mean, the prettier the shoes.
Of the
so
shoes.
I'm saying
you
that
are more of a story person.
I only say a shoe has to perform in a way, at least that basic performance. And I usually what I've experienced out of all my previous experiences is also that is a small part where it lacks a bit, at least to me. I know that sneakers are becoming a trend. A lot of, even when our professors wears a sneaker, everyone is mad about him and all of that. But then from a very broad perspective, for example, I'll give you a small example. So I trek a lot, so I have trek shoes.
Right.
these are only one pair of shoes, and they're not like they're very black, and they're not monotonous and all of that. But then when I wear over jeans, it suits. When I wear over these trousers, they suit.
Okay.
When I wear over shorts, they suit.
So you're looking more of a utility point. Like
Exactly.
He wants to set into multiple.
He wants to
dressing.
have one pair of shoe that will give him utility for certain things.
So
He
how
want
do you
to-
gonna convince this point?
I think if he wants to generate utility when he wants to run, he wants to trek, he wants to wear it every day, then sneakers are definitely not your thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're
So
giving it back. Like,
No, I'm saying that if you should look it in a different way. I'm trying to change his perspective. That if you're willing to trek, you should be wearing these shoes.
Absolutely. No.
Right. I mean, I'm trying to change his perspective, his thought process as to how he should look around sneakers. Then only he'll be able to understand whether if I want to have sneakers or not. And certainly, I would want to buy more set of sneakers or not. So, like I mentioned, that the fact that he's so much into sports, he watches a lot of basketball. He plays a lot of basketball. I've seen him playing basketball a couple of times.
I've got LeBron's, dude, but they are like performance shoes, and no matter how much I've played with them, it's been like 8 years that I own them, and they look as good as new. Jordans went down like.
I mean, obviously, LeBrons are totally sports oriented. Jordans,
Yeah.
you have to wear it in casual events, and especially given the price range. There are expensive price range, there are usual price ranges as well, right? So when you go over the bottom price ranges, there could be. And you can't really be accustomed that you have to walk in a stiff way, walk in a certain way so that your shoe doesn't get critched,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You walk in your own comfortable zone, how you actually walk
You're
in.
diverting the point here. You have to pitch. You're telling a conversation. here.
So coming back to the story, I think this was a story that made me buy this particular shoe. I think the same story I want to imbibe in you as well, that the fact that the legendary man himself, the fact that the shoes are so rare, the fact that it will give you that sense of acceptance that okay, I have this particular sense of fashion and a sneaker which only I have, and that creates a scarcity. So I think that you should definitely have these shoes, wear them for some time, go to classes, go to outings wearing these shoes, and you'll see that okay, there's something that you'll feel about it.
Are you convinced?
I'll tell you one thing, okay? He's been. No.
He's not convinced.
Nahi, Bab, I'll tell you one very genuine thing, okay? And it's a real time experience that I had. I wore Jordan sneakers on my first day to college. I wore them to a basketball match. I didn't play very great or nothing very intense as such. But then everyone was noticing my shoe. Okay? And then I missed a shot. I missed a very, very basic shot. Everyone was very, very angry with me. They were not happy with the way I was doing and all of that. And someone comes to me and says, "You don't become a Jordan if you wear Jordans."
So the fact that wearing
Right?
shoes makes you feel
So
that you have to.
he just like trashed your story, man.
I'm saying that the fact that he's wearing a Jordan makes other people believe that he is capable of certain thing, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you wear Jordans doesn't make you Jordan. So just because of the fact that he missed a goal, so he's expected to do bigger things in his life, right? Be it a goal, be it doing certain things. If he's wearing a normal shoe, people would say that okay, hey, he missed a particular basket. But now that you're wearing those shoes, people look up to you. People would be expecting great things out of you, right?
I know.
So
Yeah.
the fact that you are expected to do larger things, people will now look up to you, expecting that you'll have to make that goal. You are the man. You'll make sure that the team wins by the
Right.
virtue of you, right?
Right.
So I think these are the stories where you are expected to behave in a certain way. So that you should agree that.
See, I would love to buy, okay, but then in case even if I do, I'll buy something which is very plain, not too flashy and all of that.
This one, pretty plain.
Chalega. But yeah, I will buy sneakers for sure. But I think I'll take your recommendation next time.
For sure.
So Harsh, here we have Ritika, who's a non-consumer, who has willingness to buy sneakers, but like haven't bought much sneakers. And if you want to convert her into a sneakerhead, or else buy a lot of sneakers as just like you, so how are you gonna convince her? So can we try that?
Sure, let's start with the customer analysis. I want to understand the relationship and the behavior
Yeah.
of her with the product. So what is the usage rate with sneakers?
With sneakers. So generally, footwear in general, being a woman, I'd go for different kinds of footwear than just shoes or sneakers. So we use footwear daily. so it happens all the time. But if I were to go for sneakers, in my mind, I would go for durability, and the fashion comes as a bonus. So I'd either go for substitute products than a sneaker, or a shoe that is coming in a lesser price and is more comfortable for me than a sneaker.
She's choosing comfort over the.
Yeah.
I want to understand the benefits that you sought.
So for me, it is comfort. Something that I can pick very quickly, and durability, of course, because I have seen my friends getting sneakers who spend like 30,000, 40,000, and they use it like twice or thrice and it's gone. So I do not want to do that to my money, have a burn in my pocket. Just go for something that you like, is fashionably very good, and something that you can pick very quickly when you're getting out.
I understand that you're a football player. Is there any loyalty with any particular brand?
At a point, yes, I did. I was very brand loyal to Nike with form of studs and trainers, but
That's easy for you.
yeah, I think it is. But later, I think there is a marketing stigma around all of these people that they create that kind of urgency and that exclusivity that we have to be a part of that community and we have to do these things, we have to buy these things to be that cool person. But I think there are other brands who, give that kind of comfort also. This came out very late in my life that you can go for other things with the same kind of qualities that.
But you never been kind of a sneakerhead, right? Like
No.
What is your attitude towards sneakers? What do you think when
I'm very
Let's say
neutral
sneakers.
towards it. For me, it is durability, comfort, and fashion. Anything that hits my eye, I just take it. And for me, I think price also plays a lot of factorial thing for me. So I don't think I would spend 15,000-20,000 on just one pair of shoes when I can get a lot more than.
And how do you convince her actually?
Yeah.
So don't see sneakers as the product itself. See the value that it gives you as a total product. I understand that you're a football player and you can relate with sports personalities, right? With these sneakers, my idol is Jordan.
Okay.
So I get to connect with it. Who's your idol in football?
For me, it is Gareth Bale.
Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
He's a Belgium player.
No, he's
is it?
a captain of Wales. He plays for Real Madrid.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of collaborations with football stars as well, which can make you connect and be a part of the football community. Don't you feel
But she's looking more of a comfort, right? Not for the story.
Yeah.
How do you convince?
For me, I think even if it was my admiration towards the star who's playing there or the kind of shoes he's wearing, I'd rather go on his skill towards the game than what he's using. So I'd rather develop the kind of kicks that he's doing, a free flow kick or something. I'd try and learn that than by what he is wearing.
Are you out of words?
Nah, I'm just strategizing with my 4 P's right now. I started with product. That failed. Okay. Let's now go to promotion.
So Ayush tried story. Somewhere he tried convincing.
With a story. Don't you want to relate and be a part of the community? For example, Real Madrid launches a sneaker with Nike. Wouldn't that make you feel somewhat included in the part of the community?
I think I'm already a part of the community being a football player. I do not need to have the kind of merchandise that they are owning or they are partnering with to be a part of that cool thing there.
ये क्या बात है? But okay. ठीक है, तो you are hell bent on not being convinced, huh?
No. So you can convince me. I am ready to be convinced, but this
There's
is
no
not
selling
convincing
point you're
me.
trying to prove.
I mean, the only utility that I see, which she can get, is being a part of a community which she already relates to. She can delve deeper into it, feel.
Try pitching a pair, right? Like you can try pitching a pair. You can tell what's why you bought it and how can you pitch it to her. Let's see if she gets any excitement or like anything.
Sure. So you see the sneaker,
Yeah.
it envelops your feet. It's very comfortable. You can do multiple things with it. There's not just the utility of it being fashionable. You can run in these, you can play sports in these, you can style them with a suit. So they're very versatile and they don't come at a very high cost. It's an entry level sneaker. You can get it for $9,000, $10,000. I think that's the willingness to pay which you have. And once you become a part of this community, you'll see the utility that it provides, how you feel more in skin, how you can present yourself, which is much more in line with the person that you are, how you can carry yourself, and what it does to you.
Sure, but I'd still go on that sneaker is not as fashionable to me, and for multiple uses, be it rain or not, I see that all the sneakers in Nike and being a part of that place, it's all white based, so it gets dirty and you cannot wear it again. You have to spend a lot again on getting
That's a
it
valid
clean
point,
and all
actually.
of that. And apart from that, there were times when I actually wanted to become a sneakerhead because of the stigma around it, and I tried going around and getting shoes, but I could never find sizes for the shoes that I liked. And I think this happens a lot with women who want to become sneaker heads and all of that, because I also see that the sizes that are available here in India are not very female friendly.
Okay.
So you either have to get it exported from another country, which is again, you have to put export-import taxes like 4,000-5,000 more than what you're spending already.
So the thing that you're trying to get to is to place aspect of the marketing mix. I don't agree with it. Once you become involved in the community, you'll be able to solve this problem of yours. There are many retail websites, reseller websites like Veg, Non-Veg, Super Kicks will supply.
I've tried Super Kicks veg non-veg. No, I haven't. It's very plain.
Have you been to the store though?
Yeah.
Have you spoken to the people who work at the store?
Yeah.
They'll do anything and everything to source you a pair. That they're so passionate about it. Tell them that you are not into sneakers and then see them getting that sneaker from whichever place that they can get from. I see that you made a point of them getting dirty, but that's a part of your personality, that you are an outgoing person that reflects how you use them. So the sneakers are not meant to be kept clean all the time.
But I need it clean. I want myself to be clean
Cleaning is a
and
bigger
presentable
aspect.
all the time.
There are many materials which have come into play, which are easier to clean. There are services which get your sneakers cleaned at a very cheap price. So the community is very passionate about what they do. So all of these problems of yours, they're very easily solved once you become a part of the sneaker community. Try getting into it with this sneaker or some other sneaker which you relate with. There are many collaborations which sneakers do with football clubs. That is something that you relate with, or any Hollywood personality or a hip hop artist that you're very passionate about. And once you become a part of the community, you'll be able to find all these problems getting solved. I see that you haven't even bought a sneaker, not got into the market, not become a consumer yet. Once you become a consumer,
I do have sneakers, a few pairs of sneakers, but I do not get the amount of utility that you're mentioning at this point, because I do have other substitute products that suffice for it. So I really do not go and pick that sneaker if
like what are the other products?
I have an Air Jordan with me. And I also have studs. Studs, so you do not
You
have
can't
to
style them, no?
Yeah.
So
Air Jordans, and I also have an Air Force sneaker. So
she already is a consumer.
I am not a sneakerhead.
I'm not trying to make you one. I just want you to come into the
So I am
sneaker
saying,
market, become a consumer.
So I have tried it already, and I am not a fan of it. So I would rather go for something else than spend a lot of money here and hit my head on, I like this, but I'm not able to find a size here.
Are you convinced at the end, whatever he said?
No.
Then how come you bought some Air Jordans?
That was 5-6 years ago.
I quit. I mean, you are not the right target segment that Nike or Adidas or any sneaker brand would want to target. You're price sensitive,
I'd
can't
rather
increase
go
your
for
willingness
good
to pay with
stuff than-
differentiation.
Yeah.
So there is no positioning that a sneaker brand can entice you
So
with.
you can't increase her
Very
willingness.
much into the marketing perspective of 4-piece.
I mean, she has already tried sneakers, and
Yeah.
that's fundamental incompatibility that she found with not liking sneakers.
Okay.
If she has tried the product, I don't think there is any way that I can convince her otherwise.
Okay.
I think it's too much price when you can get a lot of other products or other shoes for that matter in lesser price, or even if I had to spend more than 10,000 and I'd get more comfort than the sneakers that I
So the
had purchased.
total product utility she isn't able to get. Place, distribution channels are not able to touch
Too much
her.
of technical stuff. bro.
He's
Too
getting
much
into
of
the
technical
subject.
stuff.
I mean, ठीक है नहीं मार्केटिंग मिक्स में हम जज कर रहे हैं कि what went wrong that ये टारगेट सेगमेंट को हम कैप्चर नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. So that is the distribution channels are not able to get her. The touch points between the brand and the consumer are not there yet.
I
By the
think
lack of
there's a
sizes.
lot of brand loyalty also when it comes to sneakers, and I don't think that brand plays a huge role when it comes to your comfort. So yeah, that's the kind of target consumers that you.
That's the product that you want. The utility that you want
Yeah.
is a cheaper product with more comfortable,
Which you can't get it.
which you can't get with these sneakers.
Yeah.
So she's not the right target segment.
Okay. So we're unable to convert a non-consumer we're unable to increase
She
the
already is a
willingness.
consumer. I don't agree with that statement. but okay.
She's unable to increase
Just
the
trying
willingness.
too
for-
hard, guys.
It's a trial and error thing for me. So I don't think I'm a consumer of sneakers.
She was already, she had an agenda not to get convinced. So I can't do any good.
Okay, cool. Yeah.